Why you ask the same questions. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I have been providing unrivaled information about narcissism for many years. I provide it through blog articles, videos, answers to people's questions in the comments section of my various platforms, and of course, in the bespoke consultations that I provide. I get asked very similar questions repeatedly, which is understandable. But also, one of the things that manifests from my interaction with those that need help is the fact that you find yourself asking the same questions of yourself over and over again. For instance, it might be the case that you find yourself asking, how did I get caught out? Why didn't I see it sooner? Why wasn't I able to spot what was going on? You might be asking yourself, I don't understand. He said this on Monday and then said that on Tuesday. It doesn't make any sense. Why would he say that on Monday and then say this on Tuesday? I can't understand it. And it goes round and round in your head. You may find yourself asking, he said he loved all of these things about me, but now he's gone off with somebody different. Why? Why has he picked her over me? I don't get it. I don't understand. Or, she said she hates these things, and yet the person that she's now with has all of the things that she said she hated. Why? Why is that the case? Whatever the questions are, and no matter how many of them there are, you often find that they go whirring around and around and around in your head without resolution. Why is this? Why do you keep asking the same questions of yourself about the behaviour of the person that has caused you problems? The starting point to that is, of course, many people do not realise that they're dealing with a narcissist when the relationship, often romantic, often familial, sometimes social, work, etc., goes wrong. And therefore, they go looking for the answers in the wrong places. If you don't know what you're dealing with, then the questions you ask will never be met with the right answer. Instead, you come up with solutions such as, perhaps they need anger management classes. Maybe it's because they're tired. Maybe I've done something which offends them. And rather than realise, it's because they are a narcissist, and they behave this way because of this, this and this, you find yourself stuck because you continue to answer from the perspective of an alternative to narcissism. You fail to realise that you're dealing with a narcissist. And therefore there are some individuals who find themselves asking the same questions time and time again because they don't know that they're dealing with a narcissist. Of course, many people eventually find out or suspect that they're dealing with a narcissist. A friend may mention to them, I think you're involved with a narcissist. A therapist may suggest it. Or often through your own investigations at looking at things such as, why doesn't he answer my text messages? Or why is he suddenly playing hot and cold with me? You go down the rabbit hole and you find yourself coming upon articles and videos about narcissism. And where you've had the good fortune to encounter my work, you get the most comprehensive and detailed and accurate answers. But even then, notwithstanding the efficacy of the information that I provide, people still find themselves asking those same questions that go around and around in their heads. Why? Are they thick as mince and they can't understand what I explain to them? Are they grade A doofuses who can't absorb the information that's being provided to them? No. The vast majority of people actually that access my material are of moderate intelligence and above. I don't tend to have too many dimwits coming my way. And therefore, it's nothing to do with intelligence. Indeed, I have advised NASA scientists, professors, CEOs, Harvard academics, and beyond, doctors, architects, lawyers, very intelligent people who found themselves ensnared and struggling to understand, asking the same questions. Intelligence is no defence to this matter. What is it then that when you actually find yourself in the realm of narcissism and realise, I'm dealing with a narcissist, or I have been dealing with a narcissist, that's what's the problem, why is it then that the questions continue to be asked and go round and round in your head, that you keep asking yourself the same questions without finding a resolution? The answer? The enemy within your emotional thinking. People fall into this trap. They believe, honestly but mistakenly, that if they understand something, then that will enable them to move forward. But that's only part of the battle. You see, if somebody came up to you and punched you in the face, it would hurt you physically because you've just been punched. But what would trouble you more is, why did this random person assault me? Why did they have it in for me? Why did they pick on me? And long after your bruises have healed or your nose has reset, you find yourself pondering and alarmed and troubled by the fact that a random stranger assaulted you in the street. The fact that you didn't know, the fact that you don't understand what motivated them to choose you, troubles you more than the physical injury. But if you'd been having an affair with that person's partner, then you'd understand why they laid one on you. I kind of deserved it, and therefore you understand why they hit you. And therefore, by gaining understanding, the anxiety, the fear, the pondering fades away. And therefore, the desire to understand is important, and even more so with empathic victims, because of your truth-seeker traits. That is one of the empathic traits which is invariably corrupted by your emotional thinking to cause you to continue to enter the arenas of interaction and keep your emotional thinking high, meaning you think that you're trying to sort things out, but you actually never get there because your emotional thinking prevents you from doing so. What happens is you think to yourself, I need to make sense of what has happened to me, because by understanding, that will enable me to gain clarity, closure, and to move forward. Well, as a principle, that is sensible. But unfortunately, what then happens is you're asking yourself this question when your emotional thinking will be high. You'll invariably be asking this while you're ensnared by the narcissist, or perhaps recently disengaged, which means you've been in one or more of the 5 arenas of interaction. Invariably, you've been in all 5 of them, and therefore that means your emotional thinking is very high. This doesn't mean that you're hysterical, running around shouting and screaming. It just means that you lack clarity. You're unable to apply logic. So this happens. Why did the narcissist do this to me? I don't understand. I know I'll spend more time thinking about it to try and work it out. I still don't understand. I need to understand, so I'll carry on thinking about these circumstances in order to try and make sense of them. I still don't understand. I need to understand. I will continue to think about these circumstances in order to gain clarity. I don't understand. I need to understand. I will keep on thinking about this matter in order to try and gain clarity. And on it goes. You're stuck on the narcissist wheel of misery. Why? As you start off from a position of high emotional thinking, so that makes it difficult for you to understand. You're then conned by the corruption of your truth-seeker trait to keep trying to understand. But by keep trying to understand, you remain in the 5th arena of interaction, thinking about the narcissist. So you're feeding your emotional thinking, keeping it high. Therefore, that prevents you from understanding. And because you've lost insight, and perhaps don't even know you're dealing with emotional thinking, you think to yourself, I need to try and think about it some more to try and work it out. But you can't, because your emotional thinking is too high, and all you do is continue to think about it, perhaps then moving into other arenas by talking about the narcissist with other people, perhaps checking up on what the narcissist is doing, trying to communicate with the narcissist and so forth, thus increasing the emotional thinking even more. And therefore, the same question goes round and round and round in your head, or the same questions go round and round in your head without you being able to resolve them. What's the solution? Well, of course, gaining understanding is hugely important. But what you must recognize is you must not only need to understand, but you must be ready to understand. And that means you have to lower your emotional thinking. And that means imposing no contact. You have to resist that urge to get answers and simply say to yourself, I've tried to get the answers and I haven't so far. Therefore, that must mean that my emotional thinking is preventing me from doing so. It's not allowing there to be any room for logic. I just have to accept I'm dealing with a narcissist, resist the urge to try and work out what's going on, and follow a no-contact regime. And then by doing so, by imposing that no-contact regime, what will then happen is my emotional thinking will lower. And when it lowers, I will create room for logic. And then all of a sudden, you will gain understanding. Have you become cleverer? in the space of a few weeks? No. What you've done is you've lowered your emotional thinking and you've made room for the logic. And in so doing, that allows you to then understand and the light bulbs come on. Of course, many people struggle with that because they fail to resist the pull of their emotional thinking, which keeps essentially whispering in their ear, but why, but why, but why? And they give in to that temptation and again spend time trying to think about what has happened rather than just killing it dead and saying, I am not ready to understand. I know I'm dealing with a narcissist. I must stay out of the 5 arenas of interaction. It may be difficult, but I must do that. That will lower my emotional thinking. It will be turbulent to begin with as my emotional thinking fights to keep me thinking and acting and doing in relation to the narcissist. But I must resist that. And then, in so doing, I will create space in my head for logic, and then I will gain understanding. The reason that you keep asking yourself the same question or same questions is because it's being driven by your emotional thinking, filling your mind up, not allowing room for logic, and corrupting your empathic trait of truth seeker, conning you through flawed logic into thinking that you need to work it out when actually you're not ready to do so. It's a little bit like trying to plant a seed in winter. The ground is frozen, iron hard, there's no sunlight available, or little sunlight, and therefore the seed won't take. You have to be ready and the conditions appropriate, i.e. to plant it in spring, when the ground is ready for that seed, and there is water, and there is sunlight, and the temperatures are appropriate, and then the seed will take. You need to be ready to receive the knowledge that I provide to you, and the key to doing that is to ensure that you lower your emotional thinking through the imposition and maintenance through GOSO, get out and stay out, of the no contact regimen. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you